नाज़रीन, आपको बराह रास्त ले चलेंगे शहर क़ायद, जहाँ सदर मुमलिकत पाकिस्तान जापान बिजनेस फोरम से खिताब कर रहे हैं।
There were these small advertisements talking about the Japan Pakistan Business Forum, and a number of interviews from people sitting here who talked about the improving relations, and that is why I was familiar with the fact that this is the 20th founding anniversary. Um, I believe that the Japanese experience, the investment of Japan and Pakistan has been there for quite some time. Japanese investment is familiar with the circumstances of Pakistan, has been quite profitable like all overseas investments, despite the fact that there were turbulations and testing times in Pakistan. And I think the experience gained by Japanese investors in Pakistan speaks very well for the possibility of future investments. When you are familiar with an economy, you are familiar with the region, you are familiar with how people react to things, and you are familiar with everything. And I think the good message which must have gone to Japan opens up many doors. And I think what happened actually in Pakistan, because of the security situation, because of Afghanistan, there was some reluctance, but I'm glad, because the hard work done by my people and all of you and the armed forces, Pakistan today is secure. So the indicators are tremendously good, and I'm here to I can't say to sell my country, but I want to sell the brand of Pakistan, the fact that Pakistan is changing, the fact that Pakistan's policies are business friendly, the fact that Pakistan's policies are based on the future, looking towards the future, and that is being expressed very well, not from what I say, but by the fact that response is coming from the stock exchange. People who want to invest in the future of Pakistan, the stock exchange has been performing well, and that speaks volumes, much more than what I can say. That speaks volumes of the possibility of investment and business in Pakistan. So the macroeconomic changes have been good. We've managed our current account deficit very well. We've managed ease of doing business that has been improving regularly. We have started taking care of people in the health and education sectors, which are very important, which is very important. Other than the fact that we want Pakistan-Japan friendship to increase, trade to increase, we should be doing things within our society to gel the people together. To not have a very elitist situation in Pakistan, exploitative situation in Pakistan. So in the past few years, you have seen the approach which the Prime Minister of Pakistan has taken. The best example is the COVID-19 situation. And keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, he was the first Prime Minister, the first world leader who bent over backwards, made a statement and stuck by it, and he was the first world leader. He made a statement that we cannot go into a full lockdown because of the fact that our people are poor, our people will be jobless, they will be in misery. So therefore he made a statement very boldly. In fact, I don't know of anybody in Pakistan advising him to do that. In fact, a large number of doctors coming on the media were saying that the situation is bad, it's going to collapse, there will be people on the streets who will be suffering from COVID-19, there will be not enough hospital beds. But he took a chance out of compassion. So that kind of compassion knits the people together. It's very important for, ladies and gentlemen, those of you from Pakistan and for our friends from Japan to understand that we are embarking on a new era where the country is being bonded together. So COVID-19 was a good example whereby, and the results were very good. We managed a lot of discipline. And Your Excellency, I've been always talking about, when we talk about discipline in society, the best example comes to me from discipline among the Japanese people. And I've narrated it quite often. And I've said that sometimes what happens is how people react. I'll give you two examples why Pakistan needs to change in which direction. The more discipline we inculcate on ourselves, the more we will be able to, and keep in mind, these are one of the three pillars which Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah always talked about: unity, faith and discipline. And I believe for a progressing society, for a progressive society, discipline among the people is very important. And I give an example. After the earthquake and the tsunami, the destruction in the reactor and the people who suffered there, I remember very vividly an image which I talked about to Pakistani people. I remember the image that there were 200 people in line waiting for one bottle of water. Nobody broke the line. That's the discipline from Japan. That's what we've learned. We have also seen the history of Japan. When Japan opened up in the Meiji era, after the Shogun era in the middle of the 19th century, they went abroad, they adopted the dress, they acted like a sponge of information. How to make laws, how to make rules. They went to France, primarily France, England, and the United States, learned from there, came back to Japan, established systems because they saw the world progressing in the West, but they wanted to learn. So they went out and learned and came back to Japan and modified Japan. And you see what Japan is today, despite whatever happened in the 40s and 50s, in the 40s and the 30s, it recovered tremendously well. So there's an admiration within me, and that's what we want to talk about to the people of Pakistan. For example, I traveled 4 or 5 days ago on the BRT in Peshawar, and I went in incognito, but of course then people recognized me, and there was this old man who was saying, "Dekho, ye log line nahi laga rahe, और यहाँ पर कोई पुलिस वाला होना चाहिए," meaning that said that somebody should be here to impose a queue. And I told him that as soon as you land in Dubai or anywhere else, you yourself, and I asked the old gentleman, "Have you been abroad?" He said he had been to Dubai. And I told him, "What happened there? What, did you see a police wala forcing you into a queue?" He said, "No." So I said, "That's what you have to do here in Pakistan also." So there is so much to learn from the world, and countries that make progress learn from whatever has happened. They do not reinvent the wheel. They see what things in areas where things have improved and why they have improved. And there are quite a few books I can recommend to avid readers in this place. You know, Kaleem Farooqi Saab, this was the English Speakers Forum. You was here, so I'm sure there are many avid readers. Why Nations Fail is a very good book by Mr. Acemoglu and Robinson, and they take examples of neighbors going different ways. They take examples of countries which had different policies. The right judgment, the right leadership is very important. And I give you a very good example of Pakistan. Not a political example, because those come easy to me, but I'll avoid them here. So there's a good example I must mention to you. If you have, those of you who have been to Hunza, for example, on the Karakoram highway. So as you go upstream towards the Khunjarab Pass, you go on the right of the river. You're going upstream, the river is flowing down, is the left bank of the river, but you're going right on the right side of the river. And as you move up, there are two villages, which were villages at that time when decisions were made. One was Hunza on the left and the other was Nagar on the right. So the Karakoram highway was supposed to go along Nagar right up to Khunjarab Pass. The elders of Nagar sat down and decided that we don't want a road, because roads will bring in, they didn't think about prosperity. They said roads will bring in a culture which is alien to us. We don't want the roads. They sat together, they deliberated for 2 months and decided they don't want a road. So before Nagar, the road moves to Hunza, goes along Hunza. After Nagar, it rejoins at the same site. Today, if you go there to Nagar, everyone talks about that fact. Decisions made poorly at the time when better decisions could have been made. So this is what I mean today. Pakistan is at the tipping point. Why I say that all indicators, actually all of you are from the business community, all indicators. I talk about the common man, but that is politics. We can talk about that. We can talk about the fact that crumbs will fall down from the table. But beyond that, the SARS program, we couldn't afford much, but we still helped the people during the COVID crisis. That's bonding. That's the promise which Pakistan has made in the constitution of Pakistan to look out for the poor people. Pakistan has started an insurance scheme on health, in the health sector. We want to increase education, the entire coverage of education, but those are all areas where the government's intention should be there, and that is the only way to change Pakistan. Meanwhile, what do we do? Meanwhile, how do we improve our economic prosperity? And that is why there is a paradigm shift in what the imagery of Pakistan, the government has decided, the Riyasat or the state has decided should be in the future. Pakistan is of geostrategic importance. That's what we've talked about. And as far as Afghanistan and as far as the confluence or conflict in the region is concerned, Pakistan came under that conflict. We have done a tremendous job of fighting terrorism, tremendous job. No country in the world has done so much. No country in the world has experienced so much. Countries have failed. If you go to the east of Pakistan, you look at Afghanistan, Syria, Libya, you keep on going, and countries have been devastated. It is your country which has managed to pull yourselves up from the boot, and you have managed to restrict that terrorism right at the borders, and we've sacrificed. But that is something we learned. We welcomed refugees, tremendous number of refugees. Imagine those who teach us humanitarianism do not accept refugees. Look at Europe, they do not accept, they're not ready to accept refugees. So you've done a lot of sacrifice. In the community of the world, you can hold your head high. Those are the sacrifices we have made on morality, on moral grounds. It's not just on investments, but these are the sacrifices in the rebuilding of Pakistan, which I say. So today, the policies in the construction sector in the SEZs, special economic zones, and STDs, special technology zones, there are opportunities opening up, and the policies of the government made in consultation with all of you have started giving dividends. Now this is the ground on which we are then asking for investments. So the ground has to be prepared. The insecurities have been removed. The ground has to be prepared by ease of doing business, by better policies, by better openings in every sector. I met His Excellency the Prime Minister of Japan at the enthronement ceremony of the Emperor a year ago, and we had a good meeting, and he mentioned a fact, and then when you're talking about labor, I made my same pitch for Pakistan, that Pakistan is a place to be, with Japanese capital, with Pakistan's human resource. It's a great combination to manufacture for Pakistan and to export outside of Pakistan. This is the best situation. You see, surplus capital, shortage of labor. Here the opportunities are tremendous. Invest, and you are experienced about it. So I made that pitch, and after having made that pitch, I talked about the IT sector. IT sector is a passion of mine. The Prime Minister made me head of the task force because I have been familiar with IT, and I believe, with apologies to my friends here, the progress which is made in the brick and mortar situation for industry takes time.
सदर मुमलकत कराची में पाकिस्तान जापान बिजनेस फोरम से खिताब कर रही हैं। उनका कहना था कि बैरूनी सरमायाकारी के हवाले से पाकिस्तान ज़्यादा मुनाफा देने वाला मुल्क है। जापानी सरमायाकार पाकिस्तान में सरमायाकारी के फ़वाइद से आगाह हैं। न्यूज़ स्टूडियो से फिल वक्त इतना ही।